Good morning to you.
Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Lagos.
Thank-
And yes, to a lovely holiday weekend.
Oh yes, it's a holiday weekend from now. I mean, from today till
To
Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, people resume on Wednesday. Yes. So hey, I don't know. I'm looking forward to get my Salah meet as well. My first Salah celebration in Lagos. Lagosians be nice. Anyways, we kick things off with details. I mean, this headline in from the Punch newspaper. But be part of the show. Simply sending in messages to us on WhatsApp 0809 4440981. Tweet us at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag freshly pressed and would read your tweets. We're streaming live on YouTube, Smooth981FM Lagos. My name is Victor Pepple. Let's get things moving. Punch newspaper now. Marketers depots fight over 16.6 billion liters fuel diversion. In fact, the top official of the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, who craved anonymity, told the Punch that the unabated fuel scarcity was partly due to diversion of products to neighboring countries by the marketers. Mr. C, what do you make of this story?
Okay, thank you, Victor. So, as we're all aware, the fuel queues have returned in Lagos and some other parts of the country. Abuja has constantly had this fuel scarcity problem since arguably the turn of the year. And now accusations are going back and forth as to the real cause of the scarcity. Now, the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association Nigeria strongly suggests that some marketers are responsible for the scarcity, and they allege that not all of the products that are lifted are distributed within Nigeria, that a substantial portion is taken out of the country. And they hinge their position on this. They load about 106 million liters of petrol every day, right?
106 million liters.
Of petrol every day. But they say that at the same time, Nigeria's current daily consumption, at least the official sources, put about 60 million liters every day.
60 million.
So the balance of 46 million liters daily, where does it go to? Now, expectedly, the marketers have pushed back. Now, the marketers are two broad groups. You have a major oil marketers association, and that has the likes of your Mobil, your Orlando, your Enyo, and the likes. They say no, they cannot be involved in that sort of business because they run an integrated business model, which means that apart from depots, they also have filling stations. They have about 33,000 filling stations all over the country. So they are saying that they have no incentive to engage in that line of business or that sort of business activity. Now, IPMAN, who are the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, then say, we don't also do it. You should speak to the security agencies who man our borders because they will be in a better position to answer that question. And it all boils down to one thing. What is Nigeria's actual daily consumption? Because even the 60 million liters is debated. You can debate it, it's doubtful. And that's why the National Assembly is seeking to find, the House of Reps particularly, is seeking to find out the actual sum. And when they called for a hearing, expectedly and not surprisingly, none of the people invited came. They sent representatives. In fact, the representative of the central bank governor was walked out. Now, we need to resolve this conundrum. Now, why will smuggling continue to increase? It will continue to increase because it's an economic incentive. All around us, all our neighbors do not sell petrol for 165 naira.
Right.
The cheapest you will get petrol outside Nigeria is probably Nigeria, and it's closer north of 400.
Now, aren't we subsidizing for Nigerians, yet some marketers are taking these subsidized products from Nigeria and selling and making, some profit out of Nigeria at the expense of our country?
Clearly, we are. And when you say we're subsidizing for Nigerians, I'm not sure that's entirely correct because even in Abuja, even in Lagos, so in Abuja, which you're familiar with, Victor, in the metropolis, you can get petrol when you find it for 165.
Right.
But as you drive out of Abuja, Kubwa, Duse, you're not going to see petrol for 165. It's available, but you're not going to get it for 165. Same thing in Lagos. As you drive towards the outskirts of Lagos, it's not 165, probably 175, 180.
All right, quickly. I recall sometime last year, the Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai complained about this. He said Cameroon have shut down their refineries because they depend on Nigeria for the product. So when we, refine this crude abroad, bring it back into the country, pay heavily for subsidy, some unscrupulous, marketers send it to Cameroon and they keep buying there. It tells me that the government is aware. Perhaps the state governments or some state governors are aware of this. What can be done? What could be the likely punishments for some of these culprits?
Okay, so the truth of the matter is, in the short term, just for cosmetic effect, you can arrest one or two people and parade them before the media. If you want to end this long term, remove the subsidy, let the real price set in, then it no longer becomes beneficial for them.
Are we ready for the subsidy removal conversation, Mr. C? That debate is always a very long and stretchy one. Nigerians would say, no, let's allow the subsidy. And the government seems to let it be until the next administration comes on board.
Okay, Victor, we've blown through 5 trillion to 6 trillion this year already on the subsidy. You need to put that sum into proper consideration. How much is ASU asking for? About 200 billion. They still haven't gotten it. Students have been away for 140 plus days. There's no sign when they're coming back. Now you spent all this money on fuel subsidy, yet the price is not even uniform, even after applying the bridging allowance. And then you say, are we ready? There will never be a good time to remove the fuel subsidy. But for as long as we continue to maintain it, we'll continue to entertain this problem.
All right, since we're still talking about the petroleum products, in from this day newspaper, natural oil gas suppliers seek 5 months licensing window for diesel importation. Shouldn't we be looking in this angle? They are saying, give us licenses to import the product. Perhaps it will sell for less.
So this is a short-term measure, which is also commendable, because what they're trying to do is to create a stockpile, some reserve of diesel. Now, when there's an increased supply of diesel within the country, then the price will be forced down, because what is happening now is the demand is at an all-time high, supply is limited, and then you have the issue of the public power, the discourse not supplying the sufficient amount of power required. Now, beyond this, they also made another request, or a number of requests. One of them was, we need access to the official forex window, because we're being forced to look for dollars at the black market rate. Now, because this is a national problem, which could also border on security, it should be granted.
Do we even have the dollars available in Nigeria, Mr. C?
No, there are dollars. See, we're still selling crude oil on a daily basis. So there's still money. It's not enough. It's not sufficient, but there's still some money. So it's about getting your priorities right. If you get that right, we'll be sorted out. And then finally, they also said the state refineries should resume operations. All this business of importation should stop if the state refineries are all working.
I want to quickly take your thoughts on this. We're not subsidizing diesel, hence it's selling at 800. We're not subsidizing kerosene, what the common man in Nigeria uses. It. I hear it's about 800. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I got that. But no subsidy for that as well. Can't we look at it? We're subsidizing petrol, and then we're selling at 165 to 200 thereabout because of the artificial scarcity. People are complaining. If we take out the subsidy, wouldn't we also be selling petrol at 800, being that diesel is around 800, kerosene around 800 as well?
Well, so if the subsidy is removed, I'm not sure it will get to about 800.
But look at kerosene and diesel.
Yeah, it'll probably get to 500, 600. But the bigger question still remains. For petrol, what is the official figure of daily consumption? Two, the refineries have to work. We can't continue to wait for the refinery in Lekki to start operations. At this point, we don't know when it will start, because we understand they need a fresh sum of money. And for now, it hasn't come in. So we need to get the 4 state-owned refineries up and running. And if they're up and running, if there's still going to be any importation, it will be quite limited.
Quickly taking messages from our WhatsApp portal. Idima Pusa from Surulere says, in a country, level of killings, abductions, corruptions, jailbreaks. Oh, we're adding that one now too. Schools shut down and fuel scarcity are happening. Why is it that APC's government, rather than resigning and apologizing to Nigerians, are gearing up to retain power? Pebble. Why don't governments of officials resign whenever they are performing woefully? I was almost singing a song by Omaomi for you this morning, if you ask me. Anyways, Osita Chibuike says, government in Nigeria subsidizing corruption. In Lagos, I bought petrol 177 naira in satellite town. Buhari government is a failure. You are buying for 177 and you are saying government is a failure. You are angry. How about those buying kerosene for 800 naira? Well, just to throw that in on a lighter note. Joseph Meyi says, if the allegations are true, then all customs officers along the borders of the country, because smuggling isn't a business for ordinary citizens, though I disagree with your analyst on deregulation of PMS, the government isn't sincere in all dealings. May God help us. That's Joseph from Silver Estate in Ejibo. This is what I said, Mr. C. The conversation around deregulation and taking off fuel subsidy for Nigerians, we're not ready for that conversation yet. My take about the subsidy removal isn't a bad idea, to be honest, but before that, let's all have refineries up and running perfectly. That's the solution to all our fuel problems. Have a nice day, guys. Thank you very much, Mr. No Name. Henry Emmanuel comes in here, says, Mr. C, in my area, I bought fuel for 190 naira. Black market is 400 naira. They're telling you that it's not 165 any longer. We're buying for more than that. I take one more message and we hurry back into the stories. Yinka Bolu says, Mr. C, sorry to bust your bubble. We have to wait for Lekki refinery to start, and I won't deceive myself. People are asking APC to resign. It makes me laugh. Did Boris Johnson resign fully? Talk less of a black man. Well, apparently he's resigned, but he's going to be caretaker until October when there's an election and someone else comes on board.
No, but that depends. If they streamline the process and expedite it, then he goes before autumn.
Anyways, let's leave UK Wahala and come back to Nigeria and look through some of our stories, taking you straight to Premium Times. Okupe withdraws as Peter Obi's running mate. Now, the former presidential aide, Tony Okupe, has withdrawn from his position as running mate to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. He put that up in a tweet yesterday, and he attended his withdrawal letter to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and told Nigerians to await his party's decision on the replacement. However, it's no surprise to a lot of Nigerians, Mr. C, because he doubles as the Director General of the Peter Obi campaign. So, a lot of Nigerians, one, would not expect him to be the sole running mates to Peter Obi, being that both of them are from the southern region of the country. However, there seem to be speculations. I'm not sure if it's confirmed yet or put out there by Peter Obi. I stand to be corrected. But there's a certain name flying around, Dr. Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed.
Correct, Victor. So, Dr. Doyin Okupe has withdrawn his nomination in line with Section 31 of the Electoral Act. And he sent it to INEC and the party. Now, this is, if the rumors are correct and true, the choice of Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed is a very good choice, very interesting, because he's also an economist. So for the first time ever, we have a lineup. That is, we can look up to and say that actually has substance, has competence.
Do we need two economists running the affairs of Nigeria, frankly and honestly?
Well, we need people who can think outside the box. We need people who can process logic properly. We need people who have been educated, who run private businesses, who know what it takes to run a business. People who have not been dependent on government patronage. But we also need those people to have had some form of experience in the public sector.
Mm.
And Mr. Dati Ahmed has served as a senator. He was also a member of the House of Reps.
Now, House of Reps for 4 years, Senator for 1 year. There was a case in the tribunal that took him off. Some people would say if you need to win this election, that's for the Labour Party, you need a strong northern candidate with a huge influence.
So that held true for previous elections. But there's something about the next year's elections that portends something different.
Now, let's look at this critically, and I hope we don't spend so much time on this particular headline. In the South, Peter Obi seems to be gathering a lot of influence. I cannot say the same for the northern part of the country. Now, Dati Ahmed, of course, he has a influence in Kaduna State because he comes from Zaria. How about states like Sokoto? How about Taraba? How about Borno? And the other states in the northern region.
Okay, so the trick is you're not expected to win every state. You're expected to get 25% in 2/3 of the country.
Can he do that for the Labour Party?
25%, not 75%.
Can Dati Ahmed do that?
It is possible.
Okay.
Nothing is impossible. So I'm looking forward to the debate, and I do hope and pray that this time the APC candidates will attend the debates.
Kuje jailbreak. Buhari told to sack Arebeshola immediately. Investigate withdrawal of soldiers. That's it from the Daily Post. Mr. C, will this happen?
So first of all, the fact that our dear president has to be told to sack him speaks volumes. The fact that he hasn't himself resigned speaks volumes. Now,
is resignation a thing in Nigeria?
No, I'm sorry. I keep hearing that, and I'm disappointed when I hear it because there's a proper way to do things.
Since the Fourth Republic in 1999, if my memory serves me right, I can't remember, aside Kemi Adeosu, who was forced because of NYSC certificate saga to leave honorably, and she went back to the UK. Have we seen?
Resigned.
Oh, because she had other things to do.
No, she was transferred to, I think, the education ministry, and she said, look, it's not the right fit for my competencies, my skills and abilities, and she resigned.
Looking at the Buhari administration, are we going to see Arebeshola?
So it depends. It depends on how this goes. There have been reportedly 15 jailbreaks whilst he's been Minister for Interior.
15?
So clearly no lesson is being learned, or lessons are not being learned fast enough. But beyond all of this, there's a school of thought that suggests this particular jailbreak is not of the same kind and form of the other 14 jailbreaks. Now this is completely different. So, but we don't have a lot of verifiable evidence. But the rumors or indications that the deployment of military soldiers was changed a day before the attack raises some suspicion.
In fact, the Senate president yesterday was saying it's an inside job. Oh, there are no CCTV cameras at the Kuje prison at the, Federal Capital Territory. It begs for a lot of questions. Also, the reports that those who had accosted the Abuja-Kaduna Railway, some of their leaders were put in that particular medium corrections facility, and they were released when this jailbreak happened.
So it's interesting you raise this because they had repeatedly said they did not want money for the people abducted from that train incident. And Sheikh Gumi, through his media aide, had said they had requested for the release of those guys
in exchange.
In an exchange, and for whatever reason, the federal government never officially responded to that request. Now, is this the request? Is this request being answered in another form?
Now, isn't it laughable? Yes, they wanted an official exchange. It didn't happen. They broke into our our facility, and took off some of their leaders.
Do you not find it strange that in all of this attack, nobody died? Food for thought.
Let's take it over to this day newspaper. Domestic airlines may lose 5 billion naira as FAN shuts down Lagos airport runway for lighting from today. This will take about 3 months to fix, Mr. C.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so in 2008, runway 18L, which is a domestic runway for the Lagos airport, was rehabilitated and redone. However, in being redone, the runway lights were not installed. Fast forward 15 years later, they now want to do it, and it will take about 3 months. Now, the domestic airlines are complaining, and they're complaining because they now have to taxi from the international airport to the local terminal, and it takes about 30 minutes, and they estimate they'll burn about 500 liters of jet fuel doing that, and 500 liters of jet fuel at the current price at about 350,000. And they're saying if they have to do that repeatedly for 3 months, they're looking at a loss of about at least 5 billion naira.
Mm.
Now the question is this: the domestic airport in Lagos, in any event, shuts down at 6 because there's no nighttime lighting. So flights that come in later still go before this closure. We're still going to the international wing to taxi back. Now, short-term pain for long-term gain is the way I see it.
Mm.
This needs to be done anyways. And then long-term, they can now increase the number of flights coming into Lagos. More flights can come in at night, and then ultimately the Lagos airport will become a 24-hour airport like other serious airports like Dubai, like Schiphol, like JFK, like Heathrow.
24 hours for domestic flights.
No,
Well,
24 hours for everything.
I know, but for domestic flights, who wants to travel at 1 a.m. in Nigeria looking at how things are? But quickly, just to throw that in, I know we have the domestic airports in Lagos have two wings, MM1 and MM2. Will this affect the? I don't know. I mean, I'm
No,
just putting this out there.
it affects everything local. So MM1, MM2. When the flights come in after 6 p.m., they land as international.
So, are we saying for 3 months we're not going to have, domestic flight operations in Lagos, Nigeria?
No, we will. Everybody will taxi to the international wing before they take off.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that clarification. I was a little scared. But talking about flights still from this day newspaper, as aviation fuel crisis escalates, cost of flight operations. Now, flight operations in Nigeria have become precarious as airlines face abrupt disruptions of flights due to scarcity and high prices of aviation fuel, which may impair profitability. This is according to a reporter, Chinedu Eze. It's sad, Mr. C, to note that people pay heavily between 60 to 70,000 for flights. You get to the airport, to your disappointment, they keep postponing, keep moving the flights. For instance, you have a flight for 1 p.m., they move it up until 7 p.m. At the end of the day, they cancel that flight for inability to get the aviation fuel. What is going on? And nobody pays heavily for this.
Okay, so let's start this way. Yeah. In aviation travel, 40% of the operating costs of any aviation airline are fuel related.
Hmm.
Now, how do their counterparts in serious countries do this? They buy down large quantities of aviation fuel for about 5-6 months. They lock it down so that if there are any disruptions in the price during that period, they're not adversely affected.
Hmm.
That is how to do it. Or you go into long-term contracts, you hedge against the price of jet fuel. Have proper contracts in place. But some Nigerian businesses like to run it by the ear. They're not doing what they should do, and then they keep complaining about disruptions. You should be forward-thinking in your planning. Yes, it is concerning that the price of aviation fuel has jumped up from about 180 naira early this year to about 700. That is cause for concern. And even then, within the country, the price varies depending on the airport you're taking off from or the airport you're landing in. Now, what is the way forward? Clearly, they're looking for some form of subsidy. And right now, we cannot, as a nation, afford that. They should plan. They should come together, collectively buy jet fuel together. Look for storage, look for a company that operates storage facilities for jet fuel. Enter into contract with that company. Keep the jet fuel there. Buy large quantities. And as you buy large quantities for a period of time, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 12 months, you will find that the prices will be a bit more stable.
But Mr. C, we have a big problem at hand and no one seems to be talking about it. If you had to fly in Nigeria, I recall it was sometime around, somewhere between 20,000 to 25,000 naira. Now it's headed towards 70,000. Before the end of the year, during Christmas period, the regular flights will be around 100,000 naira if we do not nip this in the bud.
So this is just one aspect of what causes the rise in prices. You also have the value of the naira. which continues to fall.
Mm.
You have the increase in value of the dollar, and the dollar becomes scarce, right?
Mm.
Now, the parts they need to bring in to maintain those planes are flown in. They're not manufactured in Nigeria. You need forex. When it's time for a C check, you can negotiate it. The plane must leave Nigeria for the C check.
It's really sad that, I mean, if you had to fly in Nigeria, it's expensive, between 50 to 70,000 naira if you get a good flight, and if they decide to move, you can't. I mean, for some, they say, oh, we can't use the roads because it's very insecure. You can't. In fact, you need to keep your ransom money. That's what people make a joke with, if you had to use the roads. And government is not doing anything about it. Well, let's move on quickly, touch on this story in 1 minute, and see how much messages we can take to wrap up the show. Ekwere Madu, alleged organ harvesting victim, not minor. UK court rules.
Okay, so this is a very interesting ruling by the UK court. It has established that the alleged donor is not a minor, which is one of the planks of the prosecution's case, that they had exploited a minor for the purposes of organ donation.
Mm.
Now that it is clear he's not a minor, what is left to be decided by the court is, did he do it willingly? Did he know he was coming to donate an organ? Was he doing it willingly or out of compulsion? Then ultimately, was he offered consideration for donating his kidney?
Mm.
So we await further proceedings of the court, and we'll get the answers to all these questions.
All right, quickly, let's see if we can take some of your messages and reactions right before we go. We'll look this one quickly from our WhatsApp portal. Quite a number of messages, but let's see if we can take this one in from Mike in Festac. Mr. C, to remove subsidy, we need an honest leader like Peter Obi. It's not time to campaign, rest, my brother. Then we'll be sure that the money will be put into good use. Okay. We have this one from Jovel. I am still surprised that most people are calling Kuje correction break, Kuje prison break. Is it not a surprise that after the president has since changed the name, the breaks are now one too many? It seems that the nomenclature change is now the reason we're having it broken into more often and at different states. Maybe we should return the name to prison instead of correction center. Okay. And Eden from Lekki says the removal of petrol subsidy will be welcomed. However, the same Nigerians will crucify the government as they will be unable to cope with 200 to 300 naira per litre. Who is telling you that it's 300? Be keeping your 600 naira. Wealthy residents in Lekki exist using 247 diesel powered electricity at 800 naira per litre are unhappy. Well, like you said, they're wealthy. I don't know how happy they may be. Agboros have ruled Nigeria enough. Oga language, please. Cisco Delgado. It says we need educated people to take affairs of our politics now. Peter Obi and Baba Ahmed is perfect. When you talk about education, I think some of our politicians are the most schooled, some of them with PhD. It doesn't change the mindsets. Politics is politics. The money government wants to use to pay subsidies, why don't they use it to fix our refineries and give licenses to more modular refineries? Even the telecommunications industry is not spared from this problem. That's why the network is also getting worse. Saratu sent that in. And Sly MC says subsidy on diesel has been removed and is now selling for about 800 naira per litre, and we still have supply chain issues associated with it. Is your guest making a case for petrol to sell as such? Removal of subsidy is not a replacement for poor border security, incompetence, and fraudulent business entities in Nigeria. I see your point, Sly. And Tayo says, as if airliners were prompt with their service delivery, more delays on further delays. Yinka Bolu comes in again. Oh, quite a lengthy one. Yinka, let's give room to others. Don't forget that international flights are also on the rise, because Nigeria does not remit what is due to IATA, and that is the highest debtor in the world, which forces airlines to increase fares. Ned sent that in. And finally, for Uche, Mr. C, you're highly intelligent and analytical. Thank you for a detailed analysis. With that, we come to the end of Freshly Pressed for the week. And, see you again on Monday, for some on Wednesday. as you enjoy your long break, remember us who will be here on essential duty on Monday. Thank you very much, Mr. C. You can catch up with him on Twitter at Monsieur C with a triple E. My name is Victor Pepple, VICTAPEPPLE on social media across the platforms. It's Smooth 981 FM on Twitter, Smooth 981 on Instagram. At 8:15, we'll take you right inside the locker room. Good morning.
The headlines, the stories,
So I'll see you Monday.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. C.